There's something stirring in the unseen realms, chosen one, something that has been building momentum while you fought your battles in silence, while you questioned your worth, while you wondered if anyone truly sees what you've endured. The universe has been orchestrating a grand design around your pain, your growth, your relentless pursuit of truth despite the cost. Right now, powerful forces are aligning in your favor, not the kind of help you might expect from friends or family. No, this runs deeper than blood, more strategic than coincidence. There are individuals positioned in places of immense influence who have been watching your journey with growing admiration. They've witnessed your refusal to break under pressure that would have shattered others. They've seen how you transformed your deepest wounds into wisdom that illuminates the path for those still lost in darkness. The energy around you is shifting with unprecedented velocity. What felt like endless struggle is about to reveal its true purpose. Every betrayal that cut you to the bone, every moment you stood alone against forces that seemed insurmountable, every time you chose growth over comfort, all of it has been preparing you for what's coming. The universe doesn't waste its chosen ones on small missions, and yours is about to unfold in ways that will leave you breathless. But first, understand this: your recent awakening wasn't random. That sudden clarity about your life's direction, that inexplicable knowing that everything is about to change, these aren't wishful thinking or spiritual bypassing. You've been receiving downloads from higher consciousness because you've finally reached the frequency where such communication becomes possible. Years of inner work, of refusing to let bitterness poison your heart, of maintaining hope when logic demanded surrender. This elevated your vibration to match what's been waiting for you. Gene and Count subtotundance elevated your vibration to match what's been waiting for you. Gene and Count some toffened up parkdund tutwandre quat. Wanandrava loundy count bots and drav dot and offend up pav. Wanandrava loundy count bide baltics osh. Be quiet. Of noun to loshes pandra kitchen when Ted and I cocked him soften. Ticolo distrondra doffide the make and con I kaften. Ticolo to make surrender. Trontapekin I kaften. Trontapekin I kaften. Prontapekin I kaften poston. Prontapekin I kaft. This isn't someone from your past trying to make amends, though such people exist in your orbit. This is an entirely different caliber of person, someone whose resources could alter the trajectory of countless lives, someone whose word carries weight in rooms where decisions reshape society. They operate from a moral compass that guides them toward supporting those who embody the change they wish to see in the world. You caught their attention, not through self-promotion or networking, but through the authenticity of your transformation. In a world saturated with performative spirituality and manufactured inspiration, genuine evolution stands out like a beacon. Your willingness to face your shadows, to break generational patterns that have enslaved your lineage for decades, to choose healing over revenge, this creates a resonance that draws powerful allies like magnetism. This benefactor sees something in you that perhaps you haven't fully recognized in yourself yet. They understand that your struggles weren't random punishments from an indifferent universe, but carefully crafted initiations designed to forge someone capable of carrying a massive torch. The childhood wounds that nearly broke you, they were simultaneously breaking the chains that bound your ancestral line to cycles of limitation, fear, and suppression. Every time you chose love over hate, growth over stagnation, truth over comfortable lies, you were writing a new story, not just for yourself but for everyone connected to your energy field. This ripple effect hasn't gone unnoticed by those who monitor such things. There are individuals whose entire purpose revolves around identifying and supporting catalysts for positive change, and you've risen to the top of their list. The support coming your way isn't charity or pity, it's investment in your mission. This person recognizes that your specific combination of wounds, wisdom, and resilience creates the perfect foundation for something that could impact thousands, perhaps millions of lives. They've seen how you naturally become a guiding light for others who are struggling, how your presence alone can shift someone's entire perspective from hopelessness to possibility. But here's where reality reveals its darker complexity. Not everyone in your sphere wants to see you succeed. In fact, your upcoming elevation threatens some people who have grown comfortable with your struggle. These aren't necessarily evil individuals, but they've constructed their identity around being needed by you, or around feeling superior to your circumstances. Your transformation challenges their entire worldview about what's possible, what people deserve, and how life actually works. Some of these resistance forces operate from places of supposed authority in your life. They might be family members who've always positioned themselves as your advisors, friends who've grown accustomed to your struggles providing them with a sense of purpose, or institutions that profit from keeping certain truths buried. Your evolution threatens their established order, and they will not surrender their influence without a fight. This is where your unknown allies' true power becomes evident. They don't just possess financial resources, though those are substantial. They command legal, social, and political influence that can neutralize opposition with surgical precision. When those who oppose your rise attempt to silence you, discredit you, or sabotage your progress, they'll discover they've underestimated the forces backing you. The support system being assembled around you operates with the efficiency of a well-orchestrated military campaign. Every potential obstacle has been anticipated, every vulnerability protected, every attack vector defended. While you've been focusing on your inner work and personal healing, entire networks of influence have been quietly restructuring to create clear pathways for your success. This protection extends beyond mere defense against external threats. Your benefactor understands that true empowerment requires addressing root causes, not just symptoms. They're prepared to provide resources that will heal generational wounds, not just within your family line, but within the communities you'll touch through your work. This is systemic change disguised as personal support. The magnitude of what's approaching will shock you. We're not discussing a modest improvement in your circumstances, a small break that provides temporary relief from struggle. This is complete life restructuring, the kind of transformation that people spend decades manifesting, compressed into a timeline that defies conventional understanding of how change occurs. Your inner child, that part of you that learned to expect disappointment, that developed elaborate survival mechanisms to cope with a world that seemed hostile to your sensitivity, this wounded aspect of yourself is about to experience safety for the first time. The hypervigilance that has exhausted you for years will finally be able to relax because the protection surrounding you will be both visible and invisible, both practical and spiritual. But understand this crucial point. What's coming isn't meant to make you dependent or comfortable. Your benefactor recognizes that challenge and growth are essential to your nature. They're not removing all obstacles from your path. They're ensuring that the obstacles you face serve your highest evolution rather than someone else's agenda to keep you small. If your gift involves helping others break free from cycles of abuse, you'll suddenly have platforms, funding, and legal backing that turn your individual healing sessions into movements that reshape policy. If your purpose centers on creative expression that awakens consciousness, you'll find yourself with access to distribution networks, production resources, and promotional support that defies explanation. This is because your unknown ally understands something that most people never grasp. Investing in genuine transformation creates exponential returns. Every person you help becomes a catalyst who helps others, creating ripple effects that eventually circle back to benefit everyone involved. Your healing becomes community healing. Your breakthrough becomes collective breakthrough. Your freedom becomes a template for others to follow. The opposition will intensify before it dissolves. Those who've benefited from your struggle, who've built their identity around your limitations, who profit from systems that keep people trapped, they will recognize the threat your elevation poses to their established order. They'll deploy tactics designed to make you question your worth, your readiness, your right to receive such support. The resistance you'll encounter operates on multiple levels simultaneously, each more sophisticated than the last. On the surface level, you'll face obvious opposition from those whose authority depends on your continued struggle. These individuals might attempt public discrediting, spreading narratives designed to make others question your character or worthiness. They understand that your transformation threatens their position as gatekeepers of possibility, and they will not surrender that role gracefully. More insidiously, you'll encounter opposition from those who claim to support you, but whose actions consistently undermine your progress. These individuals have unconsciously invested in your struggle because it provides them with a sense of purpose or superiority. They offer help that creates dependency rather than empowerment, advice that keeps you circling rather than advancing, emotional support that reinforces victim consciousness rather than cultivating strength. The most dangerous opposition, however, comes from systems and institutions that have built their entire foundation on keeping certain truths hidden. If your mission involves exposing abuse, corruption, or deception that implicates powerful organizations, you'll discover that their response involves resources and strategies that seem almost supernatural in their coordination and effectiveness. They possess influence that extends into legal systems, media networks, and social institutions, creating webs of protection for themselves that have seemed impenetrable. But here's what they haven't anticipated. Your unknown allies have been preparing for exactly this kind of opposition. Every move your opponents might make has been gamed out years in advance. Every resource they might deploy has been matched or exceeded by counter-resources already in position. Every narrative they might construct has been anticipated, with alternative narratives ready for immediate deployment. This is because your benefactor didn't arrive at their position of influence through luck or inheritance alone, though both may have played a role. They've spent decades studying how power operates at the highest levels, how information flows through networks of influence, how perception shapes reality in ways that most people never recognize. They've become masters of the very systems your opponents believe they control exclusively. This is precisely when your allies' full power will be revealed. While you might expect support to come in the form of encouragement and gentle assistance, what you'll receive resembles more closely the protection of a powerful parent defending their child. Legal teams will materialize when needed. Social influence will shift narratives in your favor. Financial barriers will dissolve as if they never existed. But perhaps most shocking of all, you'll discover that your benefactor isn't unique. They're part of a network of individuals who've been waiting for someone like you to emerge. These aren't conscious conspirators meeting in secret rooms. They're souls who incarnated with specific missions to support transformation catalysts when they reach critical mass. Each person in this network brings different resources and expertise. One might possess media influence that can shift public opinion overnight. Another might control educational systems that can integrate your teachings into curricula. A third might have political connections that can remove regulatory barriers to your work. Together, they form an infrastructure of support that seems almost supernatural in its coordination and effectiveness. The orchestration of this support network reveals planning that extends across generations. Some of these individuals have been positioned in places of influence, specifically to be available when transformation catalysts like yourself reach critical mass. They've spent lifetimes building wealth, accumulating connections, and developing expertise, not for personal aggrandizement, but in service of a mission they may have only partially understood until now. What you're witnessing is the activation of what could be called a consciousness infrastructure, a deliberately constructed network of resources, relationships, and capabilities designed to accelerate human evolution by supporting individuals who embody the changes humanity needs to make. This isn't a secret society or conspiracy, but rather a natural consequence of evolved souls recognizing their responsibility to use their advantages in service of collective transformation. The synchronicities that will begin manifesting around you serve as confirmation that this network is activating on your behalf. Doors will open with impossible timing. Resources will appear precisely when needed. People with exactly the right expertise or connections will enter your sphere just as their contributions become necessary. These aren't coincidences. They're the result of careful coordination by individuals who understand how to orchestrate reality at levels most people never access. But perhaps most remarkably, you'll discover that some of these supporters have been influencing your life from a distance for years without your knowledge. Opportunities that seem to arise naturally may have been carefully created. Obstacles that mysteriously resolved themselves may have been quietly removed by unseen hands. People who appeared in your life at crucial moments, offering exactly what you needed, may have been guided to you by forces you never suspected existed. This revelation might initially disturb you, raising questions about free will and authentic achievement. Rest assured that every choice you've made, every lesson you've learned, every transformation you've undergone has been entirely your own. The support has been environmental, creating conditions where your authentic growth could flourish rather than manipulating your development directly. Your role in this cosmic arrangement isn't passive. You're not being rescued or saved. You're being equipped for a mission that requires unprecedented resources and protection. The universe doesn't invest this heavily in anyone without expecting massive returns in the form of positive impact on collective consciousness. The childhood dreams you abandoned because they seemed unrealistic, those weren't fantasies, they were premonitions. The visions you had during meditation that seemed too grandiose to share, those weren't ego projections, they were downloads of your actual future. The knowing you've carried, that your life was meant for something significant, that wasn't delusion, that was truth trying to prepare you for this moment. Every person who told you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept limitation as wisdom, they were unconsciously serving the old paradigm that your emergence is designed to collapse. Your unknown allies recognize that what appears unrealistic from a scarcity mindset becomes inevitable from an abundance perspective, backed by strategic resources. The transformation accelerating around you will be public. This isn't a private victory that you celebrate in solitude. This is a demonstration of what becomes possible when someone refuses to let circumstances define their destiny. Your success will be visible enough to inspire others who are still trapped in cycles you've transcended, while simultaneously serving notice to systems that profit from keeping people small. But here's the element that will truly astound you. Your benefactor expects nothing in return except that you become fully yourself. No strings attached, no hidden agendas, no debt to repay. They understand that authentic transformation can't be controlled or manipulated. It must be freely given the space to unfold according to its own wisdom. This level of trust in your character comes from their ability to read energy signatures at depths most people never access. They've observed how you respond to both power and powerlessness, how you treat those who can help you versus those who can't, how you handle resources when you have them versus when you don't. Your consistency across these variables convince them that amplifying your influence will serve the highest good. What you haven't yet realized is the sophisticated intelligence network that has been documenting your choices for longer than you might imagine comfortable. Every moment you showed kindness when no one was watching, every instance you chose integrity over advantage, every time you lifted someone up when you yourself were struggling, all of it has been witnessed and recorded by those whose job it is to identify individuals worthy of extraordinary investment. This isn't surveillance in any invasive sense, but rather the natural consequence of living authentically in a world where genuine character has become increasingly rare. Your actions create energetic signatures that register on instruments most people don't know exist. When someone consistently chooses love over fear, truth over comfort, service over self-interest, they become visible to networks that specialize in amplifying such frequencies. The benefactor approaching your life isn't operating from sentimental motivation or random charitable impulse. They represent something far more structured and intentional, a conscious effort by evolved souls to create rapid transformation in human consciousness by supporting individuals who have already proven their commitment to growth over comfort. You've passed tests you didn't even know you were taking, demonstrated qualities under pressure that most people only aspire to in theory. But here's where the situation becomes even more intriguing. Your benefactor has been waiting for you to reach a specific level of inner development before making contact. They understand that premature intervention, no matter how well-intentioned, can actually interfere with the natural evolution process that creates authentic strength. The timing of their emergence in your life isn't coincidental. It's precisely calibrated to your readiness to receive support without becoming dependent upon it. The support manifesting around you creates what mystics call a field of grace, a zone where synchronicities multiply, where obstacles dissolve more easily, where opportunities arise with perfect timing. But this isn't passive magic. It's the result of powerful individuals actively clearing pathways, removing barriers, and creating conditions where your natural brilliance can shine without interference. You were never meant to walk this path alone. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't just another spiritual community. It's a sanctuary for the exiled, the awakened, the ones who've been gaslit for their gifts and abandoned for their truth. Every week, we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces sharing real stories of transformation. There's a former CFO who embraced their psychic abilities, a seer who broke free from religious oppression, and a healer who survived ritual abuse and found their power. Dozens more join us who understand exactly what you've been through. This is your spiritual family, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you walk through this awakening alone, never gonna scroll past your suffering like it's just content. Your exile from the ordinary world wasn't punishment, it was preparation. For this, for us, for the family that chooses you back. Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in description. Your nervous system, which has been in survival mode for so long that stress feels normal, is about to experience a recalibration that will shock you with its intensity. When genuine safety replaces hypervigilance, when abundance replaces scarcity, when support replaces isolation, your body will need time to adjust to the new reality. Expect waves of emotion as decades of tension finally release. This physical transformation parallels the external changes occurring in your circumstances. Just as your body must adapt to safety after prolonged stress, your identity must expand to accommodate possibilities that previously existed beyond your imagination. The person you've been won't disappear, but they'll integrate with aspects of yourself that have been waiting for the right conditions to emerge. The inner child who learned to make themselves small to avoid further pain will discover they can occupy space freely. The part of you that developed elaborate strategies to earn love and acceptance will learn what unconditional support feels like. The aspect of yourself that became hyper-responsible because adults in your life were unreliable will experience what it means to have truly dependable allies. But perhaps most significantly, the part of you that learned to doubt your perceptions, to question your worth, to minimize your gifts, this wounded wisdom keeper will finally understand they were right all along. The intuition you learned to suppress was accurate. The dreams you were taught to abandon were actually guidance. The sensitivity you were told to toughen up was your greatest asset. The energetic transformation accompanying your material elevation will be profound and unmistakable. Your presence will begin carrying frequencies that activate dormant potentials in others, sometimes uncomfortably so. People who have grown comfortable with limitation will find themselves confronted with possibilities they've long denied. Those who have built their identity around struggle will encounter someone who has transcended struggle without abandoning compassion for those still trapped within it. This energetic upgrade serves a purpose beyond personal empowerment. It prepares you for the responsibility that accompanies your elevated circumstances. When you possess resources that can alter lives, when your words carry influence that shapes decisions affecting thousands, when your choices ripple through communities and generations, you must operate from a level of consciousness that can handle such power responsibly. The transformation process itself becomes a teaching for others who are watching your journey. Every challenge you navigate with grace, every temptation you resist, every choice you make from integrity rather than advantage demonstrates what becomes possible when someone commits fully to their evolution. Your life becomes a living curriculum in conscious leadership, authentic power, and service-oriented success. But the most profound shift will be internal, the dissolution of the protective mechanisms that have served you through periods of scarcity and danger, but now limit your capacity to receive and circulate abundance. The hypervigilance that kept you safe during vulnerable times will gradually relax as genuine security replaces survival mode. The independence that helped you survive abandonment will evolve into interdependence that recognizes the beauty of mutual support. This internal recalibration requires patience with yourself as neural pathways carved by trauma gradually reshape themselves around safety and abundance. Your nervous system, accustomed to stress hormones and survival responses, will need time to adjust to sustained peace and security. Expect waves of emotion as decades of stored tension finally find safe expression, as parts of yourself that went into hiding during difficult times slowly emerge into the light of your new reality. The opposition that emerges as your influence grows will actually serve your mission. Every attempt to diminish your impact will be met with such swift and decisive protection that observers will understand they're witnessing forces beyond normal comprehension. This demonstration of power backing your purpose will discourage future challenges while inspiring those who've been waiting for evidence that such protection exists. Your story is becoming a living testament to what's possible when someone commits fully to their evolution despite the cost. Every conversation you have, every decision you make, every boundary you maintain now carries the weight of example for others who are watching to see if transformation is worth the struggle. Your life is becoming proof that the universe rewards authentic growth with resources that exceed imagination. The generational patterns you've been breaking weren't just family karma, they were collective shadows being cleared through your individual work. Your healing has been contributing to humanity's evolution, and now you're receiving commensurate support for the service you've already provided. This isn't payment, it's amplification of your capacity to serve at an even greater scale. Everything that wounded you was simultaneously preparing you for this expansion. Every betrayal taught you to recognize authentic loyalty. Every loss taught you what truly matters. Every moment of despair taught you to find hope in impossible circumstances. These weren't random sufferings, they were curriculum designed to prepare you for responsibilities that require extraordinary resilience. The protection surrounding you extends into dimensions most people never consider. While your conscious mind focuses on practical concerns like finances and logistics, higher aspects of your being are being shielded from psychic interference, energetic manipulation, and spiritual attack. Your unknown allies understand that transformation catalysts need protection that operates on multiple levels simultaneously. What's approaching will exceed every fantasy you've entertained about your potential. The dreams you've nurtured in private, the visions you've barely dared to acknowledge, the possibilities you've glimpsed during moments of expanded consciousness, all of this was preparation for recognizing the magnitude of what's now manifesting. Your imagination wasn't creating unrealistic expectations, it was downloading blueprints of your actual destiny. The scope of transformation awaiting you encompasses dimensions you haven't yet considered. Beyond the material resources and protective influence, beyond the network of powerful allies and the dissolution of limiting circumstances, lies something even more significant, the recognition of your true nature and the full activation of capacities that have been dormant throughout your human experience. You are not simply someone who has endured and overcome, though you have done both magnificently. You are not merely a survivor who learned to thrive, though your resilience has been extraordinary. You are a consciousness that chose to incarnate during this particular time in human history, specifically to play a role in the species' evolution toward greater awareness, compassion, and wisdom. The challenges you faced were not random difficulties assigned by an indifferent universe. but carefully designed experiences intended to develop qualities necessary for the mission you're about to undertake. Every betrayal taught you to recognize authentic loyalty. Every loss revealed what truly matters. Every moment of despair strengthened your capacity to offer hope to others in similar circumstances. Every instance of abuse or neglect developed your ability to create safety for those who have never experienced it. The journey that led you to this moment wasn't just personal evolution, it was preparation for playing a role in humanity's awakening. Your individual healing becomes collective healing. Your personal breakthrough becomes a template others can follow. Your success becomes evidence that transformation is possible, even from the most challenging starting points. And in the end, as you stand in the fullness of what you've become, surrounded by the support you never dared dream possible, protected by forces you never knew existed, you'll understand that everything that seemed to work against you was actually working for this moment. Every dark night of the soul was preparing you for the brightness that now illuminates your path. Every moment you questioned whether you were enough, whether you mattered, whether anyone would ever truly see you, all of that doubt dissolves in the recognition that you've been seen, valued, and supported by powers beyond your current comprehension. The Chosen One's journey doesn't end with personal salvation, it begins there. What awaits you now is the real work, the purpose for which all your preparation was designed, and you won't walk that path alone.